Hello. Today I'm talking about cutting the cords, also known as the ties that bind. We go through our lives, we have positive and negative experiences. The positive experiences create beautiful connections of love, of high vibrations, of high connections, soul remembrance. The negative experiences that we have create lower vibrational bonds or binding that creates this etheric, sometimes they appear as grey or black, or depending on the emotion they can present as different colours, but the majority of the cords that I would see energetically would be grey. And we create these energetic ties or cords with people that we often have toxic relationships with, toxic, heavy, negative, draining interactions with. Energy vampires will often hook into people's solar plexus, or if you've had a really personal one-to-one relationship with that person, hook into the heart chakra and create these cords, these binding cords that the other person can feed off your energy. Now, often these happen as a two-way exchange. So the two souls involved will subconsciously agree to have this cord connection that's negative in nature. Now, let me be clear. Love connections, loving connection has nothing to do with these cords I'm talking about. Love is eternal. Love is forever. Loving connection is really, really high vibration. It's really, really, it's an infinite source created bond, okay? What I'm talking about is somebody hooking into your energy field and living off your energy. And every time you think you've moved on from them, they can tug the cord and they can actually hook back in or start to live off your force, your aura, your energy field again. And it's really, really negative. It can make you sick. It can make you depressed. It can cause anxiety. The most common thing I see with cords, negative cords, would be that you can't stop thinking about that person. You feel almost like they've taken up rent in your head and you're not able to think freely. You're not able to move on from the toxic impact that that person has had in your life. So just understand that nobody can overpower you. Nobody can force these cords upon you. On a very, very subconscious, unconscious level, there's always agreement with these things. And that's why the cutting of the cords, as it's been called for a long, long time in shamanic or healer circles, is a very effective ritual, effective process, tool, technique to use to cut through that energy and to make a conscious choice that you are no longer engaging, that you are no longer willing to allow that person to hook into your solar plexus or heart chakra or wherever it can be, because cords can be anywhere on the body. The most common place would be from the solar plexus, from the stomach area, but they can also, I have seen them in the back of people's necks, lower back stuff. I mean, often a lot of lower back pain that's been, can't be explained medically, can be that there's an old toxic cord connected to a circumstance, a person, or an experience from many, many years ago. And that experience, that memory is actually still connected to and feeding into you, and actually depleting you, really, really depleting you. So it's very important that we scan our bodies daily and that in our meditation practice we are aware and careful that we have no cords coming from our auric field, and that we're clear. And if you feel that you have a cord, you can do this yourself. But in my experience, unless you're really confident and you're really proficient in cutting cords, you know what you're doing. I've been cutting cords for many years. So I'm pretty confident in cutting my own cords if I feel I have a cord with something. By the way, you can also have cords with substances, with like, you know, an addict will have a cord with a drug or a drink or food or sex. So even sex addicts would have that toxic cord with sexual experiences that they've had, or sexual partners. So it doesn't have to just be like, cords can be connected to many, they come in many different shapes and many forms. And they'll often cause you to feel, as I said, kind of obsessive about that person, obsessive about that thing, like as in an addiction, like a toxic addiction to that relationship, to the memories, to the feelings associated with that experience. So you can do this yourself, but I highly recommend, if you don't get relief, if you don't feel, and you will see instant results when the cord is cut. If you don't see instant results within a few days after having a cord cut, I would suggest that you go outside of yourself and get help from somebody, a good healer, a good shaman, a good therapeutic energy healer who knows how to do it and who can guide you through it. As I said, I've cut cords for millions of people at this stage, and it's very effective. And 9 out of 10 times, 9.5 out of 10 times, when I do this process, this technique with someone, and it's very real, it's very real on a soul level. This is not just some creative visualization thing. It's actually very it's very real on an energetic, spiritual, dimensional level. You will notice, I'll always get calls or texts from the person saying within a day later they got a message or a call, or they saw that person that they cut the cord with. And it's because on a soul level they feel that energy being cut. They're no longer able to feed into you, to live off your aura, to control you, to manipulate how you're using your consciousness. Another reason that they often show up is because they're relieved that one of the souls took responsibility and actually went and removed the cord. And it's like a little nod. It's like a thank you from a soul spiritual perspective, thank you for cutting the karma, cutting the negative interaction, and we can both get on with our lives. So here is the very basics of cord cutting. If you feel you have a negative cord connecting you to somebody or something in your life. So you want to do your meditation, put yourself into a meditative state. So you're in a nice theta, relaxed state, brainwave level. So deeply relaxed. I would suggest 15 to 20 minutes of just very neutral, simple meditative practice where, as I said, you're in a neutral space and your consciousness is in that deeply relaxed theta type brainwave state. You're going to see yourself in a bubble of light, in a cocoon of energy. You're going to call in Archangel Michael. He's often the archangel that we use to cut cords. If that doesn't resonate for you, you can call in somebody else. But the way I've always learned it, and the way it was passed down in the tradition with the Irish healers in Ireland that I've worked with, was always Archangel Michael. His energy is all about removing toxic stuff from us and helping us to clear out and clean out. And he's a protector as well. He's very protective because this is psychic surgery. So it is important you have that protective vibration and energy around you. So you call an Archangel Michael. Now in the past, it used to be that the cord cutting, Michael would come with his flaming sword of light and he would cut the cords. But in the last few years, Michael appeared to me with it's like a shard or a piece of beautiful quartz crystal. And he said, we're no longer using swords or weaponry. We're not using symbols of weaponry because humans have evolved. They've moved on. You're in fifth dimension. You don't need those symbols anymore to get the point across that we're actually removing this toxic stuff from your body. So you call in him and you see him in the circle with you. A few feet away, you'll see another white circle of light appear, and you'll put the person or the situation or the event in that circle. You're going to see his angel appear for him. Okay. Also, it's important to note that Archangel Michael, of course, is not human. He's not a clump of physicality. He can be simultaneous in different places at once because he's an energy. So he will be there for that other person as well. But because you're just doing this for you from your perspective, just imagine their guardian angel in the circle with them. Their soul will call in whoever they need to call in, because again, when you're doing this, it's very recognized on a spiritual level that this is actually an event happening. And it's very, the angels appreciate when we do this. So you're going to spend a moment pouring out your heart, your heartfelt feelings, thoughts, and, what you need to get off your chest, basically. You're going to get off your chest, off your heart chakra, what you need to say to that person, how you feel about it now. And you also want to say that you're now ready to release them and release the karma, and you want to move on with your life and that you wish them well. Then you're going to step back a moment and you're going to listen. This is a very important part of the process. Make sure that you actually listen to what the other person has to say. So it's important to actually pay attention to what their soul is saying to you. And remember, it is their soul. It won't be their ego personality talking to you. So don't worry, they're not going to get cocky or snappy or cranky or angry with you. You'll actually, a lot of people are really moved and brought to tears by what the other soul has to say about, why the nature of this exchange took place, where it came from. And also it's very important that you say you're sorry. Or also that you hear that they're sorry, whichever you feel is the most natural, organic thing for you to say to that person's soul. And also what you hear from them, that's important you hear that, okay? So when you've taken a few moments to speak your truth and hear their truth, you're now ready to cut the cord. So you need to actually physically scan your body and see where the cord is coming from. As I said, most likely it comes from the stomach area, okay? The solar plexus, the kind of sacral chakra, solar plexus area. So beneath your chest, above your groin, that's usually where it is. But there can be sneaky little cords in other places as well. So make sure you really, really check, check your back, check everywhere. You say to Archangel Michael, I'm now ready for you to cut the cords. I give you full permission to release me from this exchange with this other soul. And you imagine Archangel Michael on your behalf saying this, and you say, all things are being cleared up between us now and forever in all directions of space and time. I am free and you are free too. All things are being cleared up between us now and forever in all directions of space and time, of the past, the present, and the future. All things are cleared up now between us. I wish you only love. Thank you and farewell. And you see Archangel Michael with his crystal cutting through. You can see him cutting through the cords, but if you see him cutting the cords, you want to make sure you see him actually, or you can do it as well, pull out any roots, like if you're cutting something, there's a root left. So you want to make sure you get it by the root and you pull it out, okay? Or you can see him with his crystal like a magnet, just literally absorbing in, just the cords, just like, just like a vacuum that he's literally combing through every part of your body. And he's literally absorbing and taking away any negative cords that are there. So when you feel that's done, it's like an elastic band and the cords so the cord is still attached to the other soul, the other person, or the other addiction, maybe it's a food, maybe it's a drug, whatever, it's still attached to there. Now that's a moment where I'm going to sneeze. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. They say look into the light if you're going to sneeze. Oh, okay, it passed. Sorry. That's what you can do when you're going to sneeze. You kind of have to embrace it. I actually really like sneezing. It feels really nice. So at that point, you might see the other person's angel cut their cord, and you might see other angels come and swoop between the two of you and gather up those negative cords, those etheric, cobwebby, tubing, grey matter, just stuff that's not of the highest vibration of love, and have it being pulled and cleared away, okay? Or you might just say, well, my responsibility is to myself and to my own cord, and to make sure I have no roots, no cords in me. Once that's done, it's totally up to that other person how they take care of that. Now, if you've had a really toxic relationship with the person involved, if it's particularly dangerous and, you know, it's causing you drastic psychological issues, don't worry about how they deal with their cord. Like, just your focus in this experience is on you and making sure that you're clear, that your energy is clear, that you're not feeding or allowing someone else to feed off your energy field. So everybody has to take responsibility for themselves. So you can just see the cord being sucked out, cut, pulled by the roots, removed by Archangel Michael, and the leftover cord that's attached to the other person, that's up to them to deal with. Or you might actually see, sometimes it just happens, like, you know, I'll be working with a client and they'll be like, oh, I can see that his cord, he's actually having his cord removed as well. We're both totally unplugging from this negative interaction, which is wonderful. That's really ideal. But again, don't fret about the other person's cord. Stay focused on you, because that's what you're here to focus on. You take responsibility for yourself. So then you can see the leftover debris of the cords being taken up to heaven, back to spirit or source, whatever you want to call it, and being transmuted back into nothingness, into, you know, back into just being transformed. That's the word. Being transformed back into love. Because at the end of the day, all of these experiences, no matter how tragic they seem, the roots of all of this experience here on planet Earth is love. We come here from love and we leave here in love. So don't worry about the little dramas along the way, because it's just part of the story, it's part of the adventure, and it's part of the growth school that we're in. So then you're going to see that person's circle. You just see it moving away, moving away. You've already said goodbye. You wish them love. Thank you. Farewell. Goodbye. And you just send them love. That's all. You just send them love. And acknowledge in your heart that this experience with that soul, with that energy, is complete. It's totally complete now. And you see their circle of light getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and just see it moving far, far away up into the cosmos, into the deep, deep black velvet of space, until it becomes nothingness. And again, it's a wonderful symbol for your consciousness that this experience is complete, it's over, it's gone back into nothingness from whence it came. And you give thanks to Archangel Michael. If you feel you need extra assistance at this point, if you're very emotional, you can call in Archangel Raphael. And he has this, it's like to me, I always call it like a minty green balm. And you can see him rub this lovely balmy, foamy cream into the areas that where you feel there might be an emptiness, where there was the cord pulled out. So you can see him administrating this lovely cream soothing balm. You give thanks to your angels for being a witness and for helping you to release these cords back to spirit. And you seal yourself off and you're done. So, as I said, to have someone administer this on your behalf while you sit in a chair, make sure your back is free so that any cords are being cut there, and the healer can brush you down and just make sure that physically as well, to feel someone actually, you know, to cut the cords, or you can do it yourself. It's a very, very powerful process. I've used it many, many times throughout my life, because a part of life is picking up negative experiences along the way. And sometimes we let things get a grip on us, literally. And it's important that we clear away debris and we keep our energy field clear and glowing and thriving. And cord cutting is a very, very powerful way of doing this. If you do this process as described, or if you've done it yourself your own way, I would love to hear how you experienced it. And if you noticed within, days after doing this, that there was some recognition, some acknowledgement from the other party. I'm never surprised when I do this for someone and they text me 2 days later going, oh my God, I got a message from that person or I saw them, their Facebook picture flashed up on my Facebook page or something. And it's really just the universe saying, we acknowledge that this karma is done and you're both free. And it's about being free, and it's about making sure that we're not unconsciously draining other people's life force and that we're not allowing other people to drain ours. And that's really important, especially as a super sensitive, especially as an empath in this world. So I really hope this is helpful. This is one of my trade secrets. Obviously it's not a secret, but this is one of the trade tools I use to really help people to heal and to move on. And you'll be amazed. Sometimes having a cord cutting will trigger healing that has been waiting to happen for 20 years. Like sometimes we have cords from childhood that we've walked our whole lives with these things draining us. So it's really important that we spend time to do these things. And as I said, if you don't feel you have the confidence, if you don't feel you have